is from John Terry of Business Week. Your line is open.
Hi. One detail in your report, you talk about the need for a robust transmission system and put a cost figure on about $60 billion. How important is this transmission system, and who pays that money?
Well, John, and this is not Senator Kerry, is it? I know you've heard that too many times.
That's right. It was fun for a while during the election.
Right, I've tried it on you a couple of times. But at any rate, John, the fact of the matter is if we're going to have a robust renewable play, we need to have the transmission grid built out. $60 billion is probably a good number, and who will pay for it will be those who transmit electrons over the grid. It'll be paid for on a wide cost-allocated basis. If you're familiar with the energy development and the transmission play, particularly in the greater New England area, all of the states pick up the cost on a pro rata basis, and transmission has been built. It's essential if we're really going to get serious about renewables that either that or we all have to move to the Dakotas or we have to move to the desert, and I don't think that's going to happen. So it really is critical, and we're moving forward so rapidly with additional technology, energy efficiency on the grid. The traditional line would lose 3 or 4% in 100-mile travel. Today's newer lines, the one we build in Virginia, West Virginia, loses like half of 1%.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is essential.
What about the worries that building that might undercut, say, offshore wind on the East Coast?
Absolutely not. That's a phony argument. That's let us develop our wind and our transmission rather than your wind and your. We need it all.
Okay.
We truly need it all.
Thanks.
Yeah, you bet, John.
The next question is from Michael Burnham of Greenwire. Your line is open.
Hi, Mr. Morris, you said as a company, AEP supports cap and trade. As an organization, does Business Roundtable support the Kerry-Boxer bill, granted it's a nascent bill, and the Waxman-Markey bill?
We haven't gotten that far in the Roundtable. We support the notion, as John and I have said, of addressing this issue. We think we need to address it in the widest and broadest way that we can. So there's great support for realizing that something needs to be done. We, really, if you look back to the Roundtable's history, we began all of this in 2002 when we all said, let's voluntarily address this issue and begin to figure out how we as individual companies would address it. In 2007, we began in earnest with the production of our documents on more diverse, more domestic, more efficient, and then the balancing act. We've continued to do that, so we clearly support the notion of we need to do something about global warming. We are a bit open on the approach to it, but there are some who favor the tax, as John mentioned. There are others of us who favor cap and trade, but let's get on with it.
Just to clarify, so the Roundtable has not formally endorsed the Waxman-Markey bill either?
No, it has not.
Okay, thank you.
The next question is from Chris Hawley of the Energy Daily. Your line is open.
Chris,
good morning, gentlemen. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
A couple of questions. The first, to clarify something I think you said earlier, responding to the Bloomberg question about Copenhagen. If my note-taking is accurate, I think you said that it was your opinion that the Senate is going to set aside the floor debate on health care
to
take a serious run at the climate bill.
No. I said I doubt that they would set aside.
Oh, you doubt that? Okay.
Right.
Good. All right. Now, two quick questions.
But thanks for asking. I hate you to print that.
I would hate it too, sir. AEP, and of course the Roundtable, obviously has a strong interest in the provisions that fall under the rubric of competitiveness, and specifically the so-called tariff provisions in Waxman-Markey, which, expressed simply, gives the President authority under certain conditions to impose tariffs on goods coming into the U.S. from countries that don't have some form of climate change program. In the Senate, it's our understanding clearly that there's a strong tension between those who support the language that the House agreed to and those who want the authority to give less flexibility about the exercise of this authority, to make it more of a certain thing rather than a matter of presidential discretion. My question is, where is AEP and more broadly the Roundtable on that specific issue? And the follow is, are you hearing of any progress by Senator Sherrod Brown and others to try to get a deal on this issue?
So,
it's a long-winded question. But
yeah, no, that's all right, Chris. As you know, we, as I mentioned at the outset, American Electric Power, different from many of its colleague utilities, supports Waxman-Markey.
Yep.
However, as I said, some of the things we'd like to see strengthened, and this is one of them. The approach that the Senate is beginning to coalesce around, which is that something needs to be done to address the border issue, is not meant to be a penalty. It's meant to be an encouragement of other countries to join in this global challenge on a global issue, which you've heard me say far too many times.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't, and for instance, China and India stand on the sidelines with carbon footprints, one bigger than ours and one growing exponentially, we will have accomplished nothing in an environmental sense. And that really is the wrong way to go. Senator Brown has made it crystal clear where he and his fellow Democratic, as well as a few Republican senators, stand on this issue. As you know, there doesn't appear to be a great deal of Republican support for this approach, save Senator Graham. So I think the last time Senator Brown spoke to the issue, there were 13 Democrats in the general middle west of the country who said, if this isn't there, we won't be there either. And so if you take 60 minus 13 plus the 40 Republicans who are probably going to go the other way, that I don't think you get anything done. So it has to be addressed. And again, it's not meant to be a penalty. It's meant to be an encouragement, and it's meant to really level the... But again, you can chat with Senator Brown's office, and to the extent that he would share that with you, you could get a better read on it.
I'll tell him you recommended that he tell me.
Frequently enough.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
The next question is from Joel Kirkland of Climate Wire. Your line is